I Got the Hell Out does contain explicit content that might not be suitable for some listeners, such as children, those that easily get offended, and we do recommend that listeners at work put your earbuds in if you have coworkers around.
And if you like the show, please spread the word by telling as many people as you can. Would also appreciate if you would subscribe, rate, hopefully with 5 stars, and review the podcast on iTunes. You can find us there as well as on Stitcher and Overcast. You can follow us on Twitter at WasInACult, on Facebook at I Got the Hell Out, and on Instagram at I Got the Hell Out with an underscore after each word. You can contact us through our website at IGotTheHellOut.com.
Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Laura.
And this is I Got the Hell Out.
Who's going first?
I'm not quite sure. I know we did an exciting thing going to a casting call.
We did. Mindhunter from Netflix was casting in Pittsburgh.
For an exciting second season, they were saying.
Right. That's what they were saying.
So.
And thank God we got there early because we waited for maybe like 10 minutes,
yes.
Not even,
Yep.
To get our picture taken, fill out a form, blah, blah, blah. And then we were lucky enough to get a table at the bar.
Yes, because everybody else was standing, and I kept going outside because I smoke, you don't.
Right. And you said like the line outside in the freezing cold was what, 2 blocks long? It was insane.
3
blocks long.
3 blocks long is the last time that I went out. It went out the door, around the corner, went all the way down the city block, and it went all the way behind the building down the alleyway down to the end of that block.
Is insane. And it was cold.
It was really cold.
Damn cold.
Yes.
But it was worth going because we met a lot of nice people. Some were murderinos.
Yeah, we met people that follow our podcast.
And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Except what was not fun is when I got a parking ticket.
I still say that you should have to fight that because it was until 7 o'clock. 2-hour parking from 4 to 7. Because I remember looking at the sign. Thinking, oh, we'll be good because it was like 6:15 when we parked.
You know what? I don't have the energy or the patience to like contest it. I really don't.
Okay, this is where they start raping you, and everybody just it's easier just to pay the ticket.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's $45. So.
Well, I guess any place we be going downtown, we're going to be paying in the pay lots from now on.
Right, exactly. It would have been $10.
It would have been $10, $5 from each of us.
Right.
And then instead it's $45.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful,
so you know
wonderful,
what?
wonderful.
That's the end of that one.
Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to the city of Houston. They are our top city listeners.
And there's more people in Houston than Pittsburgh. Come on, yins, guys.
Yep. Houston likes us better than Pittsburgh for some reason. And Australia, again, you are our top country that's following us.
No, United States is first.
Besides the United States.
And then it goes Australia.
Yes.
So that is really cool.
And then the United Kingdom again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
somehow
UK,
Canada dropped out of the picture.
Yeah. Where did Canada go? Well, they only give us the top 3.
Oh, that's true.
So
they're probably
the UK beat out Canada. So UK, if you want to beat out Australia, you got to get more listeners.
Go on, let's get going here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now
we're up to culty corrections and updates.
Okay.
We screwed up.
And I don't even know how to begin to explain this because it's like so.
I thought about it and it blew my mind. Okay, because see, today is like I think it's the 3rd or the 4th of February or March, right?
Right. But that has nothing to do with how we screwed up.
Well, it does because we were asking for the episode that's going to drop tonight for listener
Right. Well,
questions.
what we do is re-record. We're
a week behind.
Right, because in case something happens, we like to have an episode ready to go. So in case there's a week that we can't record, we still have an episode to drop.
Correct. And we asked for listeners to give questions on the show we're doing today that doesn't drop until tonight. Yeah.
So I don't know if
that's how we screwed up.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone understood that because I barely do, but
we asked in the last episode for questions
right,
on
but
that
episode does not drop until tonight.
Exactly. That's
so there's
how we
no way
up.
that people could have questions for today's episode.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you understand it now?
I understand it because I was the one that told you we screwed up.
Yeah, we also screwed up by, and we talked about culty clothing, and I talked somewhat about the holy garments.
And my favorite one of all, which is...
the polished shaft. I was
Now that is like the leader dressed in his gold pimp suit.
yes, a mustard gold pimp
Right,
suit.
which I was supposed to post. I was supposed
To
to post a picture of him.
Try
Which
saying that 3
no,
times
shut
fast.
up, no. So I will this week because that picture is pretty glorious.
Yeah,
It's great.
And he even called himself the polished shaft. And I mean,
Oh, I'm sure he did.
what do you think of when you think of a polished golden shaft? Okay, I'm thinking ancient Egyptian. You know, they dug out dildo from somewhere. Honestly,
But like, why would he call?
because they're perfected. Because gold is. Perfect.
I have no problem with gold. I have no problem with that. I have why the shaft.
I don't know. I'll have any of the ex-members who listen, please, if you remember why he was called the polished shaft.
You keep
please.
wanting to say the Polish shaft.
Yeah, well, polished. Nothing against Polish people. You're much better than the cult leader. Why he was called that, but I do know that they used to teach that heaven. Okay. When you get to heaven, the floor in heaven is solid gold.
Right. I think you said, yeah.
And solid gold is clear. That's why you can see from the
And I
heavens
told you,
down.
I have no problem with the color gold. It could be silver. It could be bronze. I don't care. I have a problem with the word shaft and why he is called that.
I don't know. I'll have to ask
You got to
a
find
couple
out
of
for
people.
me because I really need to know. That's one of those things like I'm fixated on.
I still talk to one of the members who spent 20 years there.
Holy crap.
And he just left probably 3 years ago. So I will contact him after
my
today's
God.
show and ask him about the polished shaft. Because I know he was there for that one. So.
And did they change the colors? Now is there a new color for like the next feast?
I don't think so, because I was going
They're sticking with gold.
I was going through some pictures. They're not my pictures. It's on a website. And they...
What website?
I can't tell you that.
Okay, never mind. All right.
Anyway, they post pictures there, and apparently they all wear the gold head coverings, kippas, and talits for every feast now. So I've seen pictures of feasts after that one, and they're all wearing
gold.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I sent you a picture that is on the man's side. And there's a little boy.
Oh, you mean after they kind of, it was like women on one side?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And another picture for you to post is from the back of the men's side. And you can see all of the holy garments and everything.
Uh-huh.
They're all gold. Now, there's a little boy, you can pick him out towards the front, and he has a blue one on.
Oh, what a rebel.
Well,
why?
Well, they were called loners. If you forgot yours at home, or you lost it, or it fell in the toilet, or something,
Okay.
they would give you a blue one.
So basically,
they would get it back.
Right, but it's kind of like you screwed up. You forgot yours, so you have to wear a different color.
Yeah, or if you, we didn't get a lot of guests, but if you were just to show up for a service, because they have a big freaking billboard, okay? And it tells you when service.
Oh, so if you're just like, okay, I think I'll show up for the hell of it.
Yes.
They would give you this little loner.
They would give you a blue one. You would get the blue head covering for a woman, and if you had a son or a man with you, they would give him the blue kippah. So that they would make sure they got it back after services. It's
Gotcha.
bright blue, bright blue. Anyway, we didn't even do our Kool-Aid yet.
Nope, we didn't.
And guys, we changed the recipe a little bit because it's noon here.
And it called for Jägermeister. And there is no way in hell I'm drinking that.
I can't drink Jägermeister this early in the daytime, or I wouldn't be able to go home because we tape at your house.
Right.
I'd be sleeping on your couch by 3:00 in the afternoon. Your dog would be licking my face.
But we had to pick it because the title is Boo Punch. And I figured since you get frightened in the last episode, you're talking about you get freaked out all the time.
A funny story, when we went to Mindhunter, the downtown.
Yeah.
I walked outside for my first cigarette, and there's a lady named Lynn who came to the meet and greet that we had on the south side a few weeks back.
I think we have her umbrella.
We have her umbrella. We have
Lynn,
your umbrella.
we have your umbrella.
Anyway, I was walking out, and all of a sudden, Lynn just went, Deb. And I went, ah! And I did the jump up, the hands in the air, the in-taking screeching thing.
So if anyone ever wants to see that, just sneak up on Debbie.
You don't even have to sneak up. You just walk up to me and say my name, and I will do a freak out.
Just kind of sneak up behind and whisper in your ear.
Don't even whisper in my ear. You just call my name, because I whipped around. Nobody should have known my name. who are you? Where did you come from? And, well, shit, I can walk past a mirror. And
That's true.
out of the corner of my eye, my own self makes me jump. And then I have to laugh and go, Deb, you're a dumbass. You know that mirror's there. You walk by it every day, and every time you do, you jump. So anyway, yeah, so it's Boo Kool-Aid. Boo what?
Punch.
Boo
Punch. Without the Jägermeister. So it's basically just Kool-Aid and vodka.
But you can add the Jägermeister if you want to.
If you want to, go for it.
But that would, see, I would call that drink mindfuck.
Well, what is it? It's 12:30 in the afternoon.
I can't drink Jägermeister.
We're not doing that.
No.
So, but we can do the Kool-Aid and vodka, though.
But we do one customary.
We do.
One customary cup of the Kool-Aid. And
it's kind of like the earlier in the day it is, the less vodka we add.
Or whatever
alcohol.
Yeah, because
right.
we've had rum in it before, and Marie's had, Chambord.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, but yeah, the earlier, and then, I mean, hell, last time it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Deb's, spilling beer in her pants. Come on.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
I think, okay, now I guess we're done with all that beginning stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode was me
coming up with questions. Because I basically just spoke the entire time.
You just babbled the whole time.
And you just kept going, holy shit.
Holy shit. Okay, so what I did is I listened to the previous episode and just kind of wrote down questions as I was listening to it.
That listeners might also have.
Right.
And when we're done with this, if we haven't answered any specific question that anybody out there has, you can hit us up on the website or Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. Facebook is usually where everyone asks the questions.
I love when people ask me things on the Facebook page. It gives me something to do towards the day, and it gives me, I can connect with people. I really liked the lady in Australia. She showed me how big Australia was compared to the United States, and a couple people started some interesting topics about leaving the Baptist church or other religions.
Yeah. So guys, anything you want to talk about, just, we'll
hit
us up. We'll approve the question, and there we go. Okay. So as I was listening, the first question I had was, you were talking about sacrificing a red heifer.
Yes.
Okay. Please tell me there were no other animal sacrifices.
I personally didn't witness any, but I do think, and anybody out there, if you can help me remember this, that they did sacrificially kill a lamb.
No.
Every Passover before Passover, because you're supposed to put the blood of the sacrificed lamb on your doorway, so that when God comes through, he doesn't kill your firstborn children.
Right, but that was like
this is supposed to be an all-knowing God, so you have to slaughter an innocent lamb and put blood on your door because God's not smart enough to know that these people in this house worship him.
Little lamb.
Yep, little lammies. I can't verify it, but I do believe that they've sacrificed the lamb and put it on the actual worship building, and maybe on the press room building because it was the first sanctuary building, so I don't know. Other than that, they didn't do the pigeons and the other stuff.
Who does pigeons?
I don't know. It's in the Old Testament. Haven't you read this yet?
Yeah, I've read the Old Testament, but I do not remember. I know the lamb for Passover. I remember that. I do not remember pigeons.
There's something at the temple because there used to be money changers at the temple, and they sold actual small animals to be sacrificed, depending on what you were doing.
Okay, so whatever sacrifice was a certain
it might be a
animal,
pigeon,
bird, whatever.
It might be a pigeon, it might be a lamb, it might be a dove. It just depends on what you're atoning for, I guess. I don't.
Okay,
know.
You know what? We need to move on from animal sacrifices because that's really sad.
It is.
It's really sad.
God requires you to kill things that would never hurt you.
No, let's move on.
Okay,
let's move on. Okay, so you were talking about there were tapes, which I guess they were sermon tapes, or were they the leader talking, or what?
They were all sermon
tapes. Okay.
You could also get tapes from the different classes and different things. And of course, I'm showing my age here. They were cassette tapes back then.
I remember those.
They were $3 a piece back.
So wait,
in the
they
90s.
made you buy them?
Yes, you had to buy them.
So wait, hold on, back up. So they wanted you to listen to these 24/7.
Yes.
But you had to pay for them.
$3 an episode.
So apparently they weren't that important, because if they were important, you wouldn't have to pay for them. It's just my thinking.
But guess what? I have the X-rated sermons. They were
Yeah.
well worth the $3 a piece. So
do you think maybe someday we'll be able to play those? Someday in the future, maybe. Please.
Well, we'll have to do an episode on the X-rated. We'll have to throw that in the Kool-Aid pitcher. The X-rated sermons.
Okay.
So,
But
yeah.
do you think we could play clips, maybe?
I'm sure we could, because we give a warning. I mean, we
No,
pretty
but
much
no,
say
I meant
anything.
no, that's not what I meant. I meant, would you be willing to share actual audio from the cult?
Sure.
That's what I mean.
Do you realize I'm probably going to have to spend the night at your house and get really drunk to listen to these damn things to find the
shit,
clips?
that's true.
I'm going to be all heebie-jeebie creeped out.
Oh, we're gonna have to record that.
Anyway, back to the tapes.
Back to the tape. Okay.
They wanted you to have them playing in the background 24/7. And
Even the kids had to listen to him.
well,
Like, I mean,
it didn't have to be loud. It just was like background. Just like they told you that even if you could just barely hear it, your mind is getting the information and it's
like
absorbing it.
subliminally.
You're
right?
just
or just it's kind of
like if you wanted to learn a foreign language, you can put the foreign language tapes in on a cassette next to your bed and listen to it as you're going to sleep. And supposedly your mind will pick it up, as your subconscious will pick it up,
Right.
and you'll learn the language better or faster. So they were going along the lines of, if you're listening to them 24/7, things that you didn't understand before or catch are going to catch in your subconscious.
Now, did people actually do this?
Oh my gosh. Kenny worked out of town, thankfully, or I would have hung myself way earlier. He only came home once a month,
Okay.
and I would be standing at the window watching him
Ready
go
to
down
hit
the
the play
driveway.
Oh no, when he was coming back.
No,
Like,
when he's leaving.
Okay.
He's leaving and he's going to be gone for
Hit
3
the
weeks.
stop button.
No, I unplugged the bitch. Unplugged.
So what did you do? Like when you knew he was coming back, we were like, all right, plug it back in, hit play.
No, because play would still be on there, because he went and bought one of the ones that it would play front and back.
Oh, well, like click over.
It would click over,
Okay.
and then it was fancy enough that you could put 2 tapes in there, and it would play the front one and the back,
Oh.
and then it would click over to another sermon, and it would play the front and the back, and then it would go back to the first
And
one.
he thought you were listening to this the whole time.
Apparently, I mean, I didn't. It was a bunch of bullshit. One of the people that used to work in the sound room, because we all had jobs, he actually said that he didn't work on the project, but other people did, that they were putting subliminal messages into the tapes, and that's why they wanted you to listen to them 24/7.
What were some of them? Do you know?
I don't know. I did not talk to the person firsthand.
Can you find out?
I can try. You know what? We should write these things down, because by the end of the week, I totally forget.
Well, write it down.
Okay, where's my
a pen.
pen?
Write it
Yep,
down.
I got my pen. What am I writing?
Find out what the subliminal message was
Subliminal messages.
in those tapes.
Okay.
Now, okay, so did they check on you to see if you did this, or did they just assume that you were going to do it?
They just pretty much assumed, and most people did what you were told to do.
Okay.
And if somebody was coming over to pick up milk or something, because I didn't sell raw milk. I sold the jars, and the milk came free.
That's right.
Excuse me. I'd have to turn it on depending on who was coming over, whether they were devout and would tell on me, because people would tell on you.
So what would happen if you got ratted out?
Not much. Your counselors would want to know why.
Oh, it's back to the counselors.
Well, yeah, everything goes to the counselors. I can't tell you how many times I did stuff just so that I could be called into the counselors, and I really didn't do anything wrong, but made it look like I did.
Did you ever have to explain why the tapes weren't on?
No, I've never had to explain that. No, never had to explain that. And I don't really think they cared if you listened to them or not. I think they just wanted that $3 off everybody. In all seriousness.
Oh my god, okay.
And then, DVDs came out, and the DVDs I think are $5 now. I don't know.
Oh, so now you get to see like the visual.
Well, I guess, but I mean, you can have a DVD or a CD. That's it.
No, that's why I'm like DVDs visual.
They probably
No CD.
They probably do the DVDs, because there's people that live out of town in another state still. When we first joined, we were in South Carolina, and there was actually an elder and his family that lived very close to us. So when we went back from the first feast, we would actually have services at their house, and we would be listening to the tape the sermon that they taped before.
Okay.
And as they got more technical, I guess, they came out with the DVDs that you could actually watch it. My youngest son came home for Christmas, and he wasn't allowed to stay at my house, as I mentioned. And one of the stipulations is he had to watch the service because they live stream it now. And you can, because a lot of churches do
how
that.
would they know if he didn't?
Well, because with a smartphone today, like, Kenny, he knows what my mom's, living room looks like.
But what I mean is, like, did he have to show that
he did.
He
was on FaceTime with his dad as the computer was set up, and I mean, he didn't stay on the phone with him the whole time.
Right.
But yeah, he was making sure that the
So your ex was checking up on him to make sure.
Oh yeah, when he would if I had to, because I didn't visit with him every day, he was here. And like I said, he wasn't allowed to stay at my house. He would have to take a picture of, like, at his grandma's, like, I'm on the back porch, or...
But staying at your mom's house was okay, right? No?
Right,
Yeah?
because she was never a member, so she couldn't be considered a fall-away. I'm a heathen fall-away, Satan's sister, I'm going to hell.
But couldn't your mom, okay, she was never in the cult, couldn't she say to your son, you know what, that was a bunch of bullshit? So, I mean, like, what difference really is there?
Well, because my youngest son is still a member there, and he could still get in trouble for things. And you just plod your way along, I guess.
But do you see what I'm saying, though?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Because I would figure that someone that was never a member could be more detrimental. Do you know what I'm saying? Because...
No.
No?
No. As a matter of fact, my ex cheated on me because he worked 8 hours away. And the elders gave him the advice to try and convert this woman because he defiled her. And she's going to be defiled for the rest of her life. And
so he didn't cheat on you with the cult member?
No, it was actually a sheriff.
What?
Yeah. I found out from a friend of mine because her husband didn't drive. And like I said, they were 8 hours away. And Kenny and his buddy were sitting outside, and she was sitting in the kitchen reading a book, and she could plainly hear them talking, and he said he knew he did wrong, and he had to go to his counselors and confess it. And
okay,
that's when he tried to convert this woman.
And what did she say?
I never met her. To this day, I don't know what her name is. I just know that she worked for the sheriff's department, and it was after they finished doing a major project. And, like, the mayor was there, and all these
like ribbon
important
cutting
people. Yes, it was
thing.
a ribbon cutting type thing.
Okay.
And he got drunk on top of it. He had to confess that he got drunk and that he slept with a heathen woman. And then
it sounds like they were more upset that she was a heathen woman than the actual affair.
They were more upset that Kenny might have condemned her to hell because she slept with him. And he defiled her. So it's not Kenny that's going to hell for defiling a woman. It's the woman going to hell.
It's always the woman's fault, isn't it? In everything, right?
Well, you do realize in the Old Testament, you're rapist. You're forced to marry your rapist.
Well, I'm talking about even today.
Yes.
Talking about even today. Like, a woman gets raped, and it's like, well, what were you wearing?
It
well,
shouldn't
you
matter.
were drunk. Well, no shit. But I'm saying, so it's still, even today, there's still that...
I got into an argument with one of my neighbors, and he was saying about the way women dress and stuff. And I looked at him and I says, well, what about the local pool up the road? How many rapes happen up there every day? And these women are walking around in bikinis.
Well, no, here's the thing.
And he had nothing to say to me.
No, here's the thing. A woman should be able to walk down the street naked and not have a man rape her. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with what you're wearing or not wearing.
You are correct, but
it's nothing.
It's a man's world, and I mean... It's ridiculous. I can't talk about this. I really can't.
Okay, because I'm going to start getting pissed off, too.
I'm going to start getting pissed off.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about that. We can start a discussion on that if y'all would like on a Facebook page or something. But for today, we can't do that.
Okay, yeah, because no.
Next question, please.
Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, so you were talking about you had this, I guess you would call it a flashback.
Yes.
And there was a space heater involved. You're saying it was in the room or whatever. Now, was there a significance to the space heater? I mean, is that what caused it, or was that just like it just happened to be there?
It was really weird because I had never had a flashback before, and
This was your first one.
it was
okay.
I walked in. I did not have my children. They were spending the weekend with their father. We were divorced by then, and I was with a couple of friends, and we were going to somebody else's house. And when I walked in, the first thing I saw was this stupid gray space heater that everybody buys at Walmart.
But was like that the trigger? Did it remind you? Did it remind you of something that happened?
It was
in
the
cult?
same space heater that we had in our very first feast trailer.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but my mind just locked on it. It was tunnel vision. And all of a sudden, all I knew I was standing back in this trailer. And I knew they were going to kill me if they found me.
Okay. Now, when you had this flashback, was it you? Were you by yourself? Were your kids with you?
No, I said my kids were at their fathers.
No. When you had this tunnel vision and you said all of a sudden you were back there.
No.
Were your kid, were they with you in this flashback, or was it just you?
In the flashback, it was just me. I knew I had quit the cult, and why am I standing in this feast trailer? How am I going to get off this property? Because our very first feast trailer was pretty much smack dab in the middle. And I'm freaking out going, oh my gosh, it's daylight outside. I can't just walk out of here. And thinking about having to wait for night and trying to sneak out. But then again, they have the gates and you
need your wire
fences.
cutters?
Well,
or was that?
I didn't even think about the wire cutter at that point, but somebody at that point grabbed me and shook me, and I came out of it.
Okay.
I've talked to quite a few ex-members that I still am friends with, and I talked mainly to my oldest son. My oldest son lives with me. We discussed last episode how he had a flashback of walking into a prefab metal building that was just a miniature version of the actual one where we went to services.
Okay, so it was like they were made out of the same thing, and that's what caused.
Yes, it was.
Flashback.
It's a sight thing, I guess. I don't know, but I asked him if there was anything that still bothered him, if he had other flashbacks and things, and he said he really can't go into a church anymore. Just like me.
You're saying that
he gets the creepy crawlies. It's like you've got bugs under your skin, and you're just going, "Oh my gosh, get me out of here! Oh my gosh, get me out of here!" He gets some really. He doesn't get flashbacks like I really did in the one that he had, but he says he does have some really weird dreams, and in these dreams, he's back there, and he doesn't know why he's back there.
And how old again was he when he left? When you guys left?
I left, but they were still forced to have visitation. He actually stopped seeing his father probably when he was 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
So
he still had cult stuff going on until he was 11, basically.
Oh my gosh, they made him wear a mask on his face. They made him wear men's athletic tube socks up his arms.
Why?
Because he had just come from his unclean mothers.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. And he can't defile the men's
side. Can't he wash his hands?
No, you have to do ablutions.
Sundown and all that garbage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's men's law class on the night the Sabbath starts, on Friday night.
Okay.
And if the sunset is at a certain time, the sun doesn't set in the summer till very late.
Yeah.
And law class, I think, was at 7 or 8 o'clock. Well, it's not sundown yet, so my son's considered unclean because he hasn't had an ablution and it's not sundown. And they don't want him. And he's sitting in this metal building with men's tube socks, mask over his face.
Well, no wonder he has flashbacks.
And it's over 100 degrees outside in the summertime down there.
And no air conditioning, I'm sure.
No, just little tiny fans kind of pushing the air around.
Pushing the hot air around.
Yeah. My oldest son had a really hard time after I left, and his dad was...
And he probably can't wear tube socks.
No.
I'm sorry.
He doesn't. Actually, he wears I never thought about it. He wears the tiny little ankle socks. He doesn't even own socks that go above his ankles because in the wintertime, it's so cold here. And he wears high tops and ankle socks. And I'm like, aren't your ankles cold? And I don't think he even realizes that maybe he doesn't have long socks because that happened to him.
And he'd wear them on his arms.
Hot damn.
See?
Wow. He has a problem with not Jewish people, but when he sees the people wearing the yarmulkes in public.
Because it was similar to what he had to wear.
Exactly. And it kind of gives them the thoughts of, is that somebody from there?
Oh, sort of like in the last episode, you're saying like you would see people.
Yes.
Okay.
At Walmart,
At
like
Walmart.
I would see somebody in the distance, especially men with beards, and especially women that were dressed in long gowns and long
Like almost like
sleeves.
Amish kind of?
Sort
Yeah,
of.
okay.
It's gotten to the point mentally that instead of trying to hide from these people in the stores, I'm telling myself in my head, that can't be so and so. This Walmart, no, there's no way that person is in my Walmart. And I make myself go up and go past that person. And then my mind, it's just kind of like, it's a snap. And it goes, oh, that isn't that person.
So you're safe.
I'm safe. I talked to, she was my best friend. And when I left, there was stuff going on. And I haven't spoken to her in over 15 years. And we spoke on the phone the other day. And I asked her, are there any things that are still, that, are bothering you? She said to this day, she goes out, anytime she goes into her car to drive anywhere, she checks the lug nuts. And she's constantly checking her surroundings around her. And just like me, she'll see somebody who looks like somebody and kind of freak out.
So wait, why would they mess with the car?
Because they like to mess with people. She's somebody who knows a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So,
I mean, messing with lug nuts is like serious.
It is. They burned down one guy's trailer. The leader wanted his land, and they had burned his trailer down.
Holy
They
hell.
do all kinds of stuff out there. She suffers a lot of the same things I do. And like I said, I talked to a few people, and they have the same reactions to the number 613, seeing men with beards, covered up people, disposable gloves. Like, we had to wear disposable, didn't have to, but a lot of women did. If they were in their clean and holy and pure state and still had to go to Walmart, they would wear...
You had to wear gloves.
Disposable rubber gloves to touch the stuff in the store.
What?
Because, like, you're on your period, and you go and you pick up a can of refried beans, and you went, oh, I want the ones with jalapenos. So you put that...
I, like, dirtied the can.
Yes. If I am in a clean and holy state, and I went in there and picked up the can you had touched, that makes me unclean. So...
I really wish people could see my eye rolls. Because, what?
I had to stay there 5 years after I divorced before I was able to move. And I could always tell cult members by what they were wearing.
And the rubber gloves.
And the gloves going through Walmart.
What the hell?
Yes. So then when you get your groceries home, you have to kosher your cans.
Okay. How do you kosher your cans? Isn't the food kosher to begin with that you had to buy?
Well, yes, but now...
But the cans aren't.
The outsides of the cans are unclean.
touched by non-cult members.
Exactly.
Maybe.
And they could be unclean in many ways. So you dunk your cans into salt water, and you wait.
Is that like the briny or lye? No, was it
just salt water?
Oh, just salt water.
Just
okay.
salt water. And at sundown, the cans magically become clean.
Wait, so you leave them in there till sundown?
No, you just dunk them in. You ablute them, like you ablute
yourself.
you
ablute your person,
right?
Like yourself,
right? And I just thought that was hysterical. Yeah. You'd have all warped labels, by the way.
What about a loaf of bread or something that wasn't in a can? How about that?
You were supposed to wipe it down.
Why couldn't you wipe down a can?
I don't know. I didn't make up the rules.
These are just, I don't know. This is just like coming. I'm just trying to figure out. I shouldn't try to figure it out.
You should see when you kosher hamburger meat, it looks like a human brain. Because there's no color left to it. It's like a gray
You have to soak
mass.
the actual meat in salt water?
All of your meat, because it wasn't kosher killed.
Oh my
and you
God.
can't eat the blood. So everything was kosher killed. Well, we're getting way off topic
Okay,
here.
well, we'll do that in the food episode.
We'll do that in a food episode.
All right, so now another thing that you were talking about the time that you guys were moving a table, and at this apartment you saw some of the propaganda.
Yes, I saw
there.
literature on the floor.
Okay. Now, I know that there's been times we were talking about the propaganda building. Can you tell us a little bit about like where they would like spew this crap out that they were passing out?
Their original prayer place, they built a building, and it was the original place where services was held.
Okay.
Then they had an explosion of people.
I thought you were going to say an explosion. I'm sorry.
No, an explosion of people, and it wasn't big enough anymore. So somebody donated their farmland, and that's where they built
For the new service.
Right, that's
Okay.
where the feast grounds and the new bigger building were. So they put the old building to use as the press room. That's where they make their scripture books. That's where they make their calendars. That's where they make their pamphlets. That's where all of this stuff comes out of. The sound room is different. I don't remember where they
What sound room? For what?
for making the tapes.
Oh, crap. Okay.
And you drank too much of that Kool-Aid already.
I'm like, what sound room are you talking about?
I told
Okay.
you shouldn't have drank that glass straight down.
Okay, you know what? Just stop it. Talk about the tapes in the sound room.
Oh, right. I don't know where the sound room was located, but the press room is where it's in the middle of the town.
So it's not like right on like where the feasts,
No,
the trailers
no,
are?
No, it's in the big city. It's in the actual town where they're located. The feast grounds are out in the country in another county, a neighboring county, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so like the press room or whatever could just be like on some main street somewhere?
It
Like,
is.
Okay. It is. Okay.
It is.
Okay. All right. Now, you also were saying that you could not look people in the eye because that would mean that you want to have sex with them.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did they actually come out and say that, or did they hint, or was it like one time during a sermon they said, "Oh, hey, this is new"?
It was during one of the X-rated tapes, I do believe, because looking somebody in the eye means you want to have sex with them. I don't exactly remember how they put it out there, but I do know at one point I was working with CPS in that town because I guess a lot of people called CPS on a lot of the kids and the families because of the way they were living. They didn't go to school.
Okay. They were homeschooled, right?
Right.
Okay.
And he actually had a hard time. He called me because they were having, this girl wouldn't talk. This girl would not talk to her worker. And the worker was a man to begin with. And she was told she wasn't allowed to talk to men. And
Even in her job?
she was 11.
Oh, okay. Why would she not? I'm so
CPS,
confused.
Child Protective Services.
Right, okay.
So the supervisor would call me and say, hey, we have an 11-year-old girl here. She won't talk to, how do we get her to talk? And that's when I had to tell them, well, first of all, you have to get a woman worker. She won't speak to a man. She's not allowed. And I said, secondly, don't look this girl in the eye because she's been taught that means whoever.
Oh, my God. So this poor girl, like if this guy's trying to talk to her, she's probably thinking this guy wants to do something
right
weird to me.
Well, because if that's what you're taught.
Right.
But yet in professional level, we're taught to make eye contact. That's how you connect with
people, right?
Yes. And he was trying to desperately make eye contact with her, and I guess in her head she was thinking
whatever an 11-year-old
yes.
would think, but regardless, it was bad.
It was not good. So yeah, I try and look everybody in the eye these days. Anyway, back to the questions.
Okay. Okay, now this one here is actually my mom had a question.
Okay.
Hey, Mom. She wanted to know if you felt like you've wasted 10 years of your life in the cult.
Life is such a funny thing because even when you think something is just so horrible that it's like the yin and yang. Here's the bad.
Okay.
But within the bad is some good. And here's the good, and within the good is some bad. And there you have life.
Okay.
I used to think it was a waste. I used to hate it, but it made me who I am today. I have strengths that I never knew I had. I can do things that I thought were impossible. I have 2 wonderful sons that I would not trade for anything in the world. I have friends all over the country that I never would have met. So it wasn't really a wasted 10 years. I try and use the biblical stuff in my head to make people think, or at least read the first 5 books of the scriptures.
Right.
But I can't say it was wasted because it would have been 10 years doing something somewhere else different. I mean, do you waste 10 years living in a cabin in the woods, or do you enjoy it? Or I don't even know how to answer that one because it really wasn't wasted. There was good times and there were bad times, but the experiences that I got out of it, I mean, every experience you go through shapes you differently.
Right.
Good or bad. And I just wouldn't change it because it makes me who I am today.
So you don't wish, I know that a couple episodes, or maybe it's like one of the first 2 episodes, you were saying that the way this all started was your ex-husband received a box of literature, right, from his dad.
That was the first episode, getting in, getting out.
Okay. Now, do you ever wish, like, son of a bitch, I wish that box never arrived?
Not really, because everybody might wish something different, but that's not what happened. And you can't keep thinking about what might have happened because that's not what happened. That's just fantasy of, okay, well, what if it didn't show up? Well, it did, and I'm dealing with the after effects. I honestly have no idea what my life would be like. I could probably be dead by now if I wouldn't have went there. In a way, that place kind of saved me. I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. Right now, I weigh 115 pounds and could probably put on a few more. Can you, looking at me now, imagine me at like 96 pounds?
Oh, God, no.
My first feast, I weighed 96 pounds.
Oh, okay, that's not healthy.
No, and in going there, I stopped doing the things I was doing and got healthy again. So, I mean, when you
So, like, in some really warped way, it saved your life, kind of?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
If we would have stayed in South Carolina, I don't honestly know what would have happened. So, and when you join a cult, you can't exactly go and ask people, hey, you know where to get anything?
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, it was not a wasted 10 years. It is just what it was.
Okay. All right. Now, I think you already answered this one. It's about your son, the one that is out of the cult. I think you answered that. Does he have any other flashbacks? Or did he? And I think you already answered that.
I pretty much answered that, but depending on when we tape next week, he may be a guest to give his insight of what it's like being born into it. And
well, if it's not next week, he's definitely going to be here at some point.
Some point. I can tell you that his first day of school was 2nd grade. And he was so nervous that...
Wait, homeschool or like in a public
school?
Public, okay.
He was set for 2nd grade by the time he actually got to go to school. And he was so nervous because you're not supposed to eat the worldly food. They're trying to poison you.
Like in the school cafeteria.
Right. I had to make that kid's lunch probably for the first 4 years he went to school because he refused to eat anything in the cafeteria.
So even for a 2nd grader, that was so ingrained in his head.
Yes.
Already.
That the
2nd grade.
The food's unclean. You can't eat it. The food's unclean.
Damn.
And he was so nervous because you're taught everybody is against you. That he was so nervous he threw up on his first day of school.
Poor kid.
In his classroom because all of the people, he didn't know anybody around him and they're all out to get him. So
meanwhile, they just like wanted to play with him on the playground, probably.
Pretty much. And I had to teach my kids to play tag. I had to teach them how to eat a freaking ice cream cone.
What? Oh, because you couldn't have the whole dairy.
You couldn't do that
kind of crap.
And when people made ice cream out in the cult, it wasn't soft serve. So it was usually served in a dish because you couldn't eat the cones because most of the cones were not kosher.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. We're gonna, you know what? We're not going to pick from the Kool-Aid
Okay, you know what?
We're
how
gonna
about
do
this?
Food next week.
Well, how about this? If your son can't be here next week, it's food. How does that sound?
That's a deal. Okay.
So we'll do that. Okay. Now, like some of these you've mentioned. I mean, like I said, I went through the episode and kind of wrote down from last week's episode.
Correct.
Okay. So this one, you mentioned that a friend refuses to talk about it. Like she'll talk with you, for hours, but if you bring up the cult, she's like, sorry, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't even bring up the names of people that we hung out with together. I'd be like, oh, I talked to so-and-so today. And she's like, I gotta go, bye. Click.
Okay. Now,
That's her way of dealing with it.
Okay.
She doesn't want to remember. She told me I am the absolute last person from the cult that she has any contact with. And she kind of said she feels guilty sometimes because we don't talk but maybe once or twice a year. But she doesn't want to think about that place. That's how she deals with it.
Now, do you ever wish that's how you dealt with it? Do you ever wish that you just blocked all this out?
I tried for years to block stuff out. I've blocked a lot of it out. And I talk to you a lot. And a lot of the stuff doesn't make it into an episode because we're talking about other things or we're out doing whatever.
Trying to get cast in a TV show.
Exactly.
Getting parking tickets.
I forget the question now. Damn it.
Oh, do you ever wish that you just block
it out? There's a lot of things that I've tried desperately to block out and I can't. There's other things I've blocked out and they've been brought back out of their little box that has been tucked away. And I think this is the last thing that I can do actually for therapy for myself is to let everything out, to tell the story, to let it all go, because for me, that's the last thing I can think of.
Okay. Wow. That was the last question I had. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just like blown away by this whole experience that you had.
It still affects you every day. At least me, it does. And, every day I'm reminded of that place. Every day I'm forced to think about things. Every day, it doesn't bother me to sit and do this. It doesn't bother me to have people ask me questions. It bothers me when I'm forced by the number 613 on the clock.
Right, because if you want to talk about it, you want it to bring it up yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
And like seeing people that aren't the right people in Walmart, it just is, it's scary sometimes because I think it's that person, and the mind games they just continue. It'll be 15 years this October since I left, and it still affects me and every single person that I still talk to, whether it's just on Facebook or on Messenger, texting, or on the phone. We all have issues from that place.
So would you say every day something pops up that reminds you of it? I mean, every day, it sounds like there's something every day.
Every day.
Holy hell.
And again, you kind of try and find ways to cope with it and deal with it. And we all deal with it in different ways. My friend I talk to once or twice a year, she doesn't think about it, doesn't want to think about it, doesn't own anything from there. She didn't even bring her furniture. She took some clothing, left everything that would remind her of that place, and went back to her home state and started new.
Well, hell, I'm glad you brought all your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought dresses, you brought pictures, you brought like a scripture book.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wish I had my original one. Like I said, Kenny gave me the 8th edition. That was one of the last feast gifts I got. And you were encouraged to give your old book that had all your notes and stuff in it to some, like a newer member or something. I don't even know what happened to it. Maybe I threw it out. I don't recall. So anyway, that I guess is our show for today. If anybody has any other questions, hit us up on Facebook or...
And I guess maybe this time we'll time it correctly.
So yeah, I think our 3rd episode was listener questions. So we're just going to make another listener questions episode in a few, and we'll let y'all all in.
So guys, send them either through the website, through Facebook, whatever. But before we go, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, the podcast world is pretty cool because from what I've seen and experienced, no one's really competing with each other. Everyone's trying to help one another, which I think is really, really cool.
Yes.
So at the end of each of our episodes, I want to try to help promote another podcast.
Cool.
So we can like like share the love or whatever.
All right. Who are we promoting
this
today?
One here, okay, you're going to love this. It's called Dudes with Brews on a Porch.
Nice.
I knew you would love that. So it says, Drew and a guest hang out while trying various Wisconsin-based beers and coffee while giving their thoughts that no one asked for.
All right. I might have to start listening to that one. Why didn't you turn me on to this before
I
today?
just found out. I just found Drew in his podcast. So at the very end, we're going to play the promo that he sent us. And guys, give it a listen.
Give it a listen.
So for now, well, next week is the food or your son.
Yeah, depending on
What's going on.
what time we're doing it and whether he's out of bed. I mean, he's 21 for crying out loud. Come on. So,
Well, maybe we'll just have to like record later.
it all depends on whether your daughter works or not. So
That's true.
Anyway, guys, as always, if you're someplace you don't want to be, you're uncomfortable, try and get the hell out, okay? And until next week.
Oh, don't hit the stop button. Listen to the promo for Dudes with
Brews
on a Porch.
All right, till next time.
All right, bye.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew and I host a podcast called Dudes with Brews on a Porch where we let the drinks flow and the conversations go. Each and every week, me and a friend of mine, we sit down, we try a different craft brew, usually from the state of Wisconsin, and we just sit down and have a conversation. We talk about all aspects of life. Once a month, we talk about paranormal stuff, and we always have a good time. You can find our show, Dudes with Brews on a Porch, on iTunes, Google Play, and anywhere else you find your podcasts. Grab a cold one and hang out with us each and every week right here on the porch.